Hello everyone, I welcome you all to new video of Last Lab series. In this video, we will cover end-to-end ancient and medieval history. After this, you don't have to read anything. You just have to read these notes, which will be posted in the Karmayogi Telegram channel. Link is in the description. And I will also post a practice test after 24 hours. Just solve that and you will be done with the majority of the portion since I am covering the previous year question themes, basic static important knowledge, and as well as the current affairs. Current affair means if something is in news, I am covering that as well. So without any further delay, let's start the class. So the first thing is Stone Age period. Stone Age periods means archaeological evidences that were found mainly were of stone tools. With the varying kinds of stone tools, there were different periods that were made. Like Paleolithic. Paleo means old. Lithic means stone. So old Stone Age. And here, if you will see, the tools were not of that sharp and small nature. They were bigger in nature. And the people were not making homes like in the present day. They were mostly cave dwellers. Fire was used. And if I have to see the economic occupation. So previously, when all the things started, people were nomadic herder. They were moving from one place to another place, and they were practicing the herding. There were some domesticated animals. They were not practicing settled agriculture. That will come slowly. The very important site is Bhimbetka. You all know that it is not just site where Paleolithic evidences are found, but even in the Mesolithic evidences, Chalcolithic evidences also are found in the Bhimbetka cave. Ostrich eggs were found in the Paleolithic sites, and in Kurnool we have evidences of ash and fire as well. Kurnool is a site in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, Kurnool is a site in Andhra Pradesh. We have Patne, another site in Maharashtra, where decorated ostrich eggs were used as beards. This is a very important fact which you need to cram. There was another site which is in Karnataka. What is factory site? Factory site where tools were made. That is called as factory site. So Hunski in Karnataka, where primitive weapons have been found and limestone tools have been also found. There are other sites as well that are not that important, but there is a site in Pahalgam also in Kashmir, Belan Valley in Uttar Pradesh, Adamgarh in Madhya Pradesh. There is Reni Gunta in Andhra Pradesh. Then we have Atira Pakkam in Tamil Nadu. We have Potawar Plateau, we have Son Valley in Pakistan. But these are the most important which has been included. Now, slowly what will happen? The Mesolithic sites. Mesolithic means the transitional period. Here also the tools were not, will be that sharp, but they will be comparatively smaller. Okay. And this is the period where the human started to indulge in the cave paintings. The use of more colors and nuanced things they started doing. Now, semi-permanent settlement, the initially Paleolithic, they were moving here and there. Now it's a kind of a transitional period. Here, the semi-permanent settlements can be found. Now, these are known for, the Mesolithic periods are known for microliths. So what are microliths? Microliths are smaller, sharper, more refined Paleolithic tools. They were used in even bows and arrows, and they were hunting animals. The sharper it will be, the lighter it will be, the better hunter they will become. So this is what you need to know. Now, if I have to see the important sites, there is a Langhanaj and Kaneval in Gujarat. Langhanaj and Kaneval is in Gujarat. We have Bagor, which has been asked even in the CDS examination, that is in Rajasthan, and Adamgarh in the Madhya Pradesh. So, cave paintings ke liye, these were the very important era. Now comes the Neolithic, where a huge transition will happen. That will be with respect to agriculture. Agricultural revolution period. Neolithic period is a kind of a revolutionary period. And here the settlement will start becoming more permanent. You can also imagine a herder cannot have permanent settlement. Agriculture will start in a fertile land, then they can settle, they can cultivate crops. They also can have leverage of having regular foods. So these all things are very, very important to have a settled life. Now, earliest evidence of agriculture that was found was in Mehergarh. Mehergarh in Indian subcontinent was found in Mehergarh. Mehergarh is now not in India. It is in currently Pakistan, Balochistan, to be precise. And it is a pre-Harappan site of utmost importance, but there are other Neolithic sites. If I have to compare between Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic, what is the favorite of UPSC? Mesolithic periods. In CDS, UPSC previous year question, they have asked a lot of questions. And these notes are not coming from Sky, these are from NCERTs only and other important sources. And yes, I've extrapolated as well. I've included informations from other books as well. So one of the very important sites is the Burja Home. Burja Home and Gufkaral are these sites in the Kashmir where pit houses. Why pit houses? So much cold is there. So pit houses will keep the things warmer. Hey, grey pottery also have been found from the Burja home and polished tools as well. Mahargarh, as I told you, the earliest agriculture evidence in terms of Indian subcontinent, and the houses were rectangular in shape in terms of Mahargarh. Goat were buried with the dead. What does it mean? It means the goat were domesticated and something very close to human people. They were living near the settlements of human. Dentistry evidence has been also found from the Mahargarh site, and main crop was barley. Main crop was barley. Okay, barley was the main crop. Now, another important site which was in the news as well in the recent time was the Daujali Hading. Daujali Hading, and it is in Assam. It is in Assam. Here, if you will see, there have been evidences of proof of like there were trade relationship with China. Jadeite was found because jadeite is something which proves that because it is not something related to India. So there is a correlation or finding that with China there was some kind of a trade relationship from Daujali Hati. That is why it is important. Now we have a site in Bihar which is called as Chirand. And Chirand, we have tools made from elephants. If you see the Mauryan periods as well, and why Magadha became empire vast and strongest, there was large availability of elephant. Now also, if you go to Jharkhand, Hazaribagh, Chayabasa, and all these regions, you will find that there are elephants that are found. Now, elephants were very, very important for warfare. Elephants were also very, very important for making tools as well. So there are tools which are made from the elephant bones and deer's antlers. Seeing, okay. Agriculture was obviously present, and then we have Goldiva, and it is in Uttar Pradesh. And potteries and remains of thatched roof wooden house. Thatched means you must have seen in the villages, na? Thatched roof. This is kind of I'm unable to depict, but you must have seen thatched roof. Kerala may also, na, in present time also you will find thatched roof. So this is something which was found in the Goldiva as well. We have Payampalli and we have the Halur. So Payampalli is in the nearby in the Tamil Nadu, and Maski or Halur are the sites which are in there in the Karnataka. These two are in the south of India. Now the last one is the Chalcolithic. We will study about megalithics as well, but Chalcolithic is a period which is important for copper. Copper was discovered. And first, it was discovered from Khetri mines of Rajasthan. Rajasthan's Khetri mine is still very, very important and very, very famous. Okay, and it is also somewhat related to Indus Valley civilization side. Indus Valley civilization people also were getting the copper from Khetri. This is the evidence. That is why it is related to the Indus Valley civilization as well. Then Ganeshpur, Jodhpur civilization also is related. Okay, this is the area where Ganeshpur, Jodhpur civilization were flourishing, and there was a trade relationship with the Indus Valley. Then we have a megalithic. These are the iron tools now used, and in megalithic period, the iron tools were used. Megalithics are the period where iron started to be used. Now, what is the peculiarity if we are using iron? So now the weapons will become stronger. The weapons will be something which we can use it for a longer period of time. Iron has that use. It also eased the agriculture, and it was prominent in south of India majorly. You can find these sites in Nagarjunkonda, Brahmagiri, Maski, Benekal, Halur, all these sites you can find. Now, large stone boulders, large stone, like stones like of this shape. Burial is there, and such stones were used. Okay, this is something which was prevalent. Iron tools were found within these burial pits, and black and red pottery was used. Okay. Then we have Mudumal menhirs. Mudumal menhirs were so much in use. This is something which is related to current affairs. These are sites of Telangana, Narayanpet to be precise. They are added to UNESCO tentative list in 2035. These are oldest menhirs in India, aligned with the solar events. Okay, so this is something which you need to know. And there are cup marks of Ursa Major. Ursa Major means Saptarishi Mandal. Saptarishi means Mandal. You must be knowing about things like constellations, etc. Have you heard? This is something which is related to Hindu mythology as well. Don't go too deep into it, but just know that Ursa Major, Saptarishi Mandal, there is marks of that found in Mudumalai menhirs. that is earliest known star representation in South Asia, have been found from Muddu Mai Menhirs, Mudumai, Menhirs, Menhirs, found from Telangana, Narayan Pet. Okay, so this is what you need to know in the Stone Ages. Now let's read about the Indus Valley civilization. Now, Indus Valley civilization, these are the civilization which are known for being far ahead from its time. Far ahead from its time in terms of the architecture, in terms of the urban planning. They were using burnt bricks. They were having underground drainage system. The roads were meeting at, see, in this way, 90-degree they are cutting. This was the pattern, grid pattern. This is something which you can find in the smart cities. This is not something which were evident at that point of time. We had large granaries to store the surplus amount of crops. We had great baths that were suggesting that some kind of ritual or practice. People were coming together, and then the lost wax technique that were used to make bronze tools is something which we are using now also. So this is the level of skill that was prevalent. They were making the statues and tools and other artifacts from terracotta as well, but naturally terracotta won't survive for that period of time, that long period of time. So that is why it is very, very important. Now, if I have to see the sites in the northern part, Shortugai is the site which is in Afghanistan. Okay, in the western part, if you will go, there is a Sukta Gendor, which is in Pakistan. In south, you see Daimabad, Maharashtra. These I am seeing the extremities. So north, it is going till Shortugai, Afghanistan. The westernmost point I can say is Sutkendor, and the southernmost Daimabad, which is in Maharashtra. And easternmost is Alamgirpur, which is in the Uttar Pradesh and nearby Meerut. Okay, not precisely the Meerut, but somewhat near to that. Then trade partners, if you will see the trade partners of Indus Valley, the people were Oman. Oman was not known as Oman at that point of time. The name was Magan. Then they were having trade relations with Bahrain as well. And the name was Dilmun. Iraq se bhi they were having trade relationship. And the name that they used to call was Ur. Copper, as I told you, Khetri mines, Rajasthan, they were taking up from there. Lapis lazuli was a very important precious stone that shows the relationship with the Shortugai. Gold was taken from Karnataka. You must have seen the movie KGF, right? Kolar, gold. Yeah? So that was then also known for gold. Now, to make tin, they needed bronze. Okay. No, sorry. To make bronze, they needed tin. And that they were taking from Afghanistan. Cotton was not only grown, but exported from Lothal. Okay. What is not known to Indus Valley civilization? Iron is not known to Indus Valley civilization. Horses are not known. There is not conclusive evidence of horses. These came with the Aryan people later on. As I told you, the grid pattern was there, and we had a citadel as well. Citadel means, see, the town was divided in the upper town and the lower town. Upper town had people somewhat like VIPs of the modern time. Then in Dholavira, there are step wells that has been found, and these became part of the UNESCO World Heritage sites. Now let's see what are the important sites. The one of the very important site is Harappa. Location is on the bank of Ravi River. Now it is in Pakistan, and it was discovered in 1921 by Dayaram Sahni. Then we have Mohenjo-daro. Location is Pakistan again. Bearded man has been found from here. Dancing Girl, Great Bath, Granary. Only site where both upper and lower towns are fortified. Generally, what used to happen was the VIP area, the upper town used to be fortified. But in Mohenjo-daro, both the upper and lower town were fortified. Now, the another important site is Dholavira. As I told you, step wells has been found from here, and because of that, we can say that water conservation was in the advanced stage. Then reservoir is also there. We have stadiums. Only UNESCO World Heritage Site that is in India of Indus Valley civilization is this. Longest Harappan script of 10 letters has been found from Dholavira. And not only that, the city is not divided in two parts. City is divided into three parts. That is again something which is unique. So there is a citadel, there is a middle town, then there is a lower town. Okay, and this was discovered by J.P. Joshi. Then we have Lothal, which was found in Gujarat. It is a port site. And there are some important things. It was also somewhat famous for beard making, and it is a trade port. And only Indus Valley site where rice, the conclusive evidence of rice grown is there. Okay, growing rice is there. Okay, in Kalibangan also, we have found the evidence of fire altar. Okay, Kalibangan. Bengal, Bangan means no, Bengals. Churi. So Bengal factory has been found from here. Kali means black, black Bengals. Plough field has been found from the Kalibangan site, and mixed cropping evidence is also there. Then there is Arakhigiri, which is in Haryana, which is biggest Indus Valley civilization site, and it was on Saraswati River bank. Burial pots have been found from Rakhigiri site. Then Banavali, also in Haryana. Here only it's a site where radial planning is there, radial, not grid, no pattern. Then we have Platawai. It is an early Harappan site. We have Chanudado, which was very, very famous for beard making. Okay. Metal works have been found from here. Shell cutting, seal making, factories are there. Only Indus Valley site with the unfortified citadel. Unfortified citadel is Chanudaro. There is evidence of human sacrifice also. Okay. Mahargarh is a pre-Indus Valley site, not specifically the Indus Valley site, which you have already seen. Then Surkotada, which is there nearby the Kutch, Gujarat, Surkotada. It is small fortified sites and bones of horses. Contested thing that it is ongoing that bones of horses may have been found, but still there is no conclusive evidence. Still, we believe that horses are not known to Indus Valley people. But this is a contested viewpoint that from Surkotada, there are some archaeologists are believing that there are bones of horses, which is contested. Now, both lower and upper towns are fortified. If I talk about religion, then religion mostly the conclusive evidence is that there is a nature worship. Okay. Seals were made from steatite. Steatite was a kind of soapstone. Potteries were black on red ware. And there were different kinds of potteries, as perforated, etc. And there are so many other things as well. Okay. We had Pasupati seal, which is kind of like the proto Shiva. They compare it with the modern day Shiva. Nature and animal worship, people think that the archaeologists think that nature and animal worship both are found from here. No temples are found until now. Okay. So one thing which you need to know is that the horses and iron were not known. Banavali, only radial planning site. Dholavira, only UNESCO heritage site of Indus Valley in India, only 3-part city. Lothal, only site where we are finding the conclusive evidence of rice. Chanudado, only unfortified citadel is there. Okay, so these are some of the very, very important pointers for your prelims exam. The third chapter, that is Vedic era. Now, why Vedic era is important? Single thing that you need to understand is that during the Vedic era only, from the pastoral nomadic herders, we became a settler. We were doing now agriculture activity. This era also has been divided into early and later Vedic period, and the transition will happen from early to later Vedic period of society. So early Vedic period was from 1600 to 1000 BC. The time period may vary a little bit according to different books, but you just need to have a brief idea, okay, a lump sum idea. So if I say in terms of Vedas, so only Rig Veda was composed in the early Vedic period. That is why in many of the books, you will also read it as Rig Vedic period. Other Vedas, other 3 Vedas, Atharva Veda was not even considered Vedas for a long period of time, but now we have 4 Vedas. So Sam, Yajur and Atharva Vedas were composed in the later Vedic period. Atharva Vedas were mostly made in the forest areas of the eastern part. That is written in many of the books. Now, if you see the kings were weaker. Why they are weaker? Because unless you have settled agriculture, the revenue cannot be something which is regular and permanent. Okay, settled life is not something which has reached the pinnacle, then they won't have the standing armies, etc. as well. So that is why the Rajan was weak. But when it went to later Vedic period, it became powerful. Patriarchy was less prevalent. Women were attending sabhas. There was sabha, samiti, and vidata. Okay, assemblies in which women were attending sabhas. But that went away when later Vedic period came and patriarchy enhanced. Hereditary monarchy was there, a Rashtra as a unit emerged. If you see, the Varna system also was very flexible, and outcasts were called as Dasyu, but it became rigid birth based. Sudras were added as a fourth Varna. There is a famous Purusa Sukta that is giving the authority to this Varna system. Okay, so Rig Vedic period, naturally the women were more educated. They were even choosing their husbands. They were attending assemblies. We have women's sages like Gargis and Maitreyi. But when we come to later Vedic period, the status of women declines and they were excluded from the political power. From the pastoralist, pastoral activities they were doing, to now they became someone who were practicing the agriculture activities. From the northwestern portion, now they were moving towards the eastern part, primarily the Gangetic valleys. Iron were found there. Land was very fertile. Agriculture could be practiced with ease. Now also the Indo-Gangetic plain is one of the most fertile places in the world. And that is why there is a huge population also, because it can support it. Water is there. The soil is fertile. And the Bhaga was the 1/6 of the produce. That was now a farmer has to pay. Initially, it was in Indus Valley plain. Now it went to Ganga Yamuna plains. In the early Vedic period, mostly they were growing wheat, barley, Yava. It was called Yava in Rigved. Barley was called Yava in Rigved period. Okay. When it moves towards eastern part, rice started dominating everything. Now we have 4 Vedic priests. There is Adhavaryu. Adhavaryu is related to Yajurveda. Adhavaryu is related to Yajurveda. Hotri, who recites prayers, are related to Rigveda. Udagatri, who chants mantras. Samaveda is related to music. You must have seen that if I recite anything, if I recite even Gayatri mantra. Okay. Om Bhurvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Yadimahi Diyo Na Prachodaya. Whatever. I am reciting Mahamrityunjay mantra. Om Tirambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvaruk. There is a chant. There is a tune to it. This is something which is written in Samaveda. And Brahmin were something which is kind of a commentary superintending the Yajanas. Yajanas are complex. So we need something which simplifies it or gives elaborate things. So Brahmins were occupying that. Okay. So this is what you need to know. Now, Vedas are something which were heard from one generation to another generation. That is why they are called as Shrutis. What they are called as Shruti. Something which is heard. From your ear, you are hearing, you are passing on to next generation, third generation, fourth generation, and through that, it passes from generation to generation. Every Veda has a Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aryanakas, okay, and Upanishad was the last. Upanishad means it contained high philosophical context and questions. Okay, it's also something which is related to Vedant. End of Vedas, all the important metaphysical questions are which is written in Upanishads. Smriti is what? That is something what was remembered. Now Vedangas, which are the 6 limbs of Vedas, are part of Smriti. Okay. Other things, Shad Darshan, that is 6 philosophical schools. Upavedas, epics, your Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas are part of Smriti. Now, earliest evidence of Varna system was in Purusha Sukta of Rigveda, which I called, where they have now correlated with the body parts of human to the different caste system. Okay. And you must have read about this, Astoma Sadgamaya. This is written in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad of Yajurveda. Oh, mother, take me from the darkness to the light. Astoma Sadgamaya, Mrityunguma, something. I'm forgetting, but this is something which was written. And Satyamev Jayate from Mundak Upanishad. So all these are important for your prelims examination. Nachiketa's story is another very important fact that is written in Kathopanishad. Okay. And Pragyanam Brahma is written in Taittiriya Upanishad of Rigveda. These are the facts which you need to cram. That's it. Come to Mahajanapadas and Mauryan empires. So what are Mahajanapada? Again, a transition is happening. Transition from the tribal organization to territorial states. So small states are developing. Now, the key question is, why did Magadha become most important one out of these all Mahajanapada? So the reason I told you, one of the reason was that the land was very, very fertile. Another reason was the iron was so much available. Now also the Singhbhum, Mayurbhanj and Jaria, Bokaro and all these regions of the undivided Bihar, now it is in Jharkhand, these iron ores, coals, etc. were available. Land was fertile, water was available, elephant was there, able kings were also present. So all of this made Magadha more powerful compared to all other Mahajanapadas. The sources of information that we get about Mahajanapada is from Aguttara Nikaya, which is a Buddhist text, and these list these 16 Mahajanapadas. So if UPSC is asking you this fact as well, we have covered it. We are going very deep. You cannot compare with any video which is available for a quick revision, even the bigger institutes. They are not going that deep in so less time. I'm compacting everything. So just trust me. For every subject I will do. Arthashastra by Kautilya. It tells about the Mauryan governance in detail. So these Indica by Megasthenes, all of these tells about the Magdas and Mauryans. Now Magadha, the capital was Rajgiri. Rajgiri has a very beautiful geography. There are mountains all around, and so it's a natural fortification kind of a thing is there. And it's very religiously also very, very important. It was most powerful base of which later on, it is the site which will transit to us making of the Mauryan Empire. Now, Patliputra will become the capital, Udayin will make it, but Rajgriha was one of the earliest and very important site. Now also it is very, very important for culture. Then Koshala, the capital was Ayodhya, and it was a monarchy. Prasenjit married the sister to Bimbisara, captured Sakyas, who were belonging to Buddha clan. Okay. Then we have the Vraji. Vaji, the capital was Vaisali, and it was kind of confederacy. Many a time, confederacy is different from democracy. Okay, Lichvi was a confederacy. Confederacy means that there is a Sabha. There are 10 kings. 10 kings are there. The decision is based on the consensus of 10 kings. So it is not democracy, it is a confederacy. Sangha. First Buddhist council happened nearby, not here. Okay? These are related facts. Avanti is in the present day Madhya Pradesh, Ujjain or Mahismati. Monarchy system was there. Mrichakatika was something which is written here, and Padyota was important king. Vatsa, the capital was Kaushambi. It was also a monarchy. Udayana was a king. Love story with the Vaswadatta. Vaswadatta is who? Vaswadatta is Pradyot's daughter. And this has been written in Swapna Vaswadatta, written by Bhasa. This is a very important literature. Very, very important literature for your prelims examination. Then Gandhara. So Gandhara, the capital was Taxila. It is also a confederacy. It is in the northwestern part. And it later on became important for Kushanas as well. Then we have another one, that is Malla. Malla is the place. The capital was Kushinagara, where Buddha attended the Mahaparinirvana. Okay. Now let's look to the Mauryan dynasty chronology. So first there were Haryanakas. Haryanakas, the important king were Bimbisara and Ajatasatru. Ajatasatru is the one who is credited with erecting so many of the edicts, stupas. Not edicts were erected by Ashoka, but stupas. Some exaggerated to 80,000, 84,000 as well. Udayin was the one who shifted the capital from Rajgiri to Patliputra. Why Patliputra? Because it was a kind of a Jal Durga. There were different rivers. Now also if you go, there are rivers like Son river is there, Ganges is there. Other important rivers are also the Punpun, etc. There is a pull which connects the Patliputra to another city known as Ajipur. There is a pull which connects it. The bridge which connects it. So the Jal Durga. Why Jal Durga is important? It helps you navigation. Something, trains were not there. Aeroplanes were not there. It can also help in navigation. Then comes the Sheshunag dynasty, and Kala Ashoka is an important ruler who conducted the second Buddhist council at the site of Vaisali under Sabakami. Sabakami was the monk. Then Nandas. Nandas are the one who are very mighty. Mahapadam were the biggest king. He consolidated the power. Alexander came to India in 327 BC during the period when Dhanananda was ruling. And there is a famous saying that Dhanananda had roughly 3,000 elephants, and Alexander had fought recently with Porus. And Porus had given a formidable fight, and he was respected by Alexander, even though he lost, but the formidable fight. And Porus had not even 1/10 of the number of elephants that Dhanananda had. So Alexander, when asked about when we cross Ganges, who will be there? He said Dhanananda. And Lord, he had 3,000 elephants. 3,000 elephants. No, we won't go. That was the fear of this empire. But one wise person overturned everything. Why so? The Chanakya's father's name was Chanak. Acharya Chanak was disrespected by the Nanda dynasty. And that revenge was taken by one of the very formidable brains. Now also, if you see in the politics, when we compare anybody, if you compare it with our Honorable Home Minister, we compare it with Chanakya. Why so? The diplomatic power to overturn the entire mighty empire with the help of a warrior. Warrior was made by him, nourished by him. Who was the warrior? Chandragupta Maurya, one of the greatest kings of India. So this is what you need to know. Okay, and Mauryas, we will read in a bit detail. Chandragupta Maurya was the one who consolidated the Mauryan Empire. His son, Bindusara. Bindusara was someone who also had to fight a lot of battle and he expanded the empire even further. Then comes the Ashoka, the great Ashoka. Last one is the Bredratha. Bindusara, the name itself comes from Chanakya. Again, a very wise person, one of the wisest person in the Indian history. Now, what he used to do was that in the food of Chandragupta Maurya, a small amount of poison he used to add, so that a kind of immunity will develop in the body of Chandragupta Maurya. Now, what used to happen was that one day, what happened? That food was eaten by the wife of Chandragupta Maurya, and she was pregnant. Now, Chanakya came to know. So, now with the sword, etc., the kid was taken away, and naturally, the mother died. But a small amount of poison remained in the forehead, like a bindu. So the name came Bindu Sara. Okay. And Chandragupta Maurya was trying to propagate the Jainism, but Bindu Sara was related to Ajivika, and Ashoka was related to Buddhism. So all three people, three different religion. Okay. Babar caves are something which are related to it, and then comes Sunga. Sunga is they were not someone who were friendly to Buddhist religion, and Pushyamitra Sunga killed the last Mauryan empire, and then he starts establishing the Brahminical supremacy as well, Brahmin dynasty. He revived the Aswamedha Yagya as well, and then comes the Kanvas. Vasudev Kanva was the important ruler, and last king Susharman was killed by Satavahanas. A quick recall that you need to find is that Megasthenes, who was the ambassador of Seleucus, and actually, you know that Seleucus Nicetas, the marriage alliance will be established by Bindusara. He wrote Indica about Mauryan court, and a lot of information that we get to know is from this. Chandragupta Maurya embraced Jainism and Bindusara Ajivika fact and Ashoka Buddhism that we already know. Barabar caves given by Ashoka to Ajivikas in his father's Bindusara's memory. This is something which you need to know. Ashokan edicts were majorly written in Prakrit language, but we have Brahmi script as well in the northwest India. Now, Prakrit language, Brahmi script, sorry. Language was Prakrit, the script was Brahmi. But in the northwest part, the script is Kharoshti or Aramic as well. So if they say that all the script was Brahmi, then it's a wrong statement. Kharoshti or Aramic was also used. Then Arthashastra, which has been written by the Kautilya, and it's our Chanakya, the theory of Saptang theory has been given. 7 elements of state. The first element is Swami, Swami that is king. Then we have Amatya, Amatya ministers. Then we have Janpa, Janpat is territory. We have Durga, Durga means fort. Kosha, treasury. Danda, army. And Mitra, that is allies. Then Ashoka Dhamma. So Ashoka Dhamma was not a religion, it's a kind of a philosophy. Now, different faith people are there. You want to bind them. So he created a kind of a moral philosophy, ethical guideline, in which he talked about things like real ceremonials. Now, also you will see that people spend a lot of money for marriages and lavish marriages. I'm not telling that these are wrong, these are personal decisions, but he believed that it will be better that if we are spending these monies for people who don't have money, if we are providing them food, if we are serving them, these are true ceremonials. He said that every Varna people should be respected. And if you are talking ill about any other religion, you are doing more harm to your own religion. King has to be like a father figure, and anybody, if any emergency is there, people who are responsible can enter even the king's bedroom, and he will be in at their disposal. From the Kalinga War, which where 1 lakh plus people died, and he was the one who was before Kalinga War. It was considered in Dipavamsa, Mahavamsa, Sri Lankan Buddhist text. It is written that he was very, very cruel. And there is a story that women said Ashoka ugly and he rammed with the elephant's foot. So he was very, very angry. And in some stories, they tell that 99 of his brothers he had killed to become the king. There are so many other stories. And then Mogaliputra Tisa and others, and he will transform to Buddhism. And from there, he will try to propagate the Dhamma, and edicts, etc., will be used for the same. Okay. If you see the administrative system, administrative system of Maurya's empire was divided into the four provinces. Okay, four provinces and central provinces. Central provinces was the Patliputra, nowadays Patna. Provinces, other provinces were Takshila. Okay, Takshila is in the western side. Sorry, Takshila. Then we have Ujjain. Ujjain is in Madhya Pradesh. Then we have Toshali or Dhauli. The Kaling Kaling means Odisha. Then we have Suvarnagiri, which is in the southern part. Further south, okay? Suvarnagiri will be further south. Revenue system was, there was a Bhaga system. Bhaga system means share of produce was given to king. Then Hiranya was a cash tax. Hiranya was a cash tax. Bali were the compulsory gifts. Then decline of all this Mauryan Empire happened because of the weak successor. The successors were not as able as Ashoka. And some say that Ashoka also was one of the reasons that it declined, because he was the one who was not focusing now on more on army and defense, etc. So it slowly withered out. There were not as big, as wise people who can intact the entire place with Dhamma. The daughter and the son of Ashoka, son and daughter, Mahendra and Sangamitra, they are the person responsible for spreading Buddhism to Ceylon, which is nowadays Sri Lanka. Now also we have a train that starts from the Patna and it goes to Bangalore, etc. That name is Sangamitra Express. That is something. The train names will tell you a lot of geography in India and history in India. That's the beauty. You must not have observed it. Maybe you would have observed it after coming to this preparation, but this is something which you can revise. Now let's come to the post-Mauryan period. So Indo-Greek dynasties, and the very important one is the Menander. So they were the first one to introduce gold coins with king's image. Gold coins were there and king's image was there. Menander was someone who converted to Buddhism, and there was a famous conversation which happened with the Nagasena, and this has been written in the book Milind Panho, very, very important fact for prelims. Capital was at Sialkot, which the name was not Sialkot at that time, the name was Sagala. And they were pushed back by Vashumitra later on. Then comes the Sakas. Sakas were the ones, they ruled from first century BC onwards. Don't go into that deep in terms of time period, just remember all these things. So first Indo-Greeks will come and then Sakas. Rudra Daman, very, very important. Rudra Daman has been asked even in the CDS paper and PYQ a lot of times just because of one inscription, Junagadh inscription. So it was a first long Sanskrit inscription and it was repaired by, and he repaired the Sudarshan name. This is being mentioned here. And there are other mentions as well. Vikram Samvat. Vikramaditya defeated the Sakas in 57 BCE. Vikram Samvat came from there. Last Saka king Rudrasena was killed by Chandragupta II, who is also known as Vikramaditya. Very, very important rulers. Then we have Parthians. Gondopharnes was very important king and they came from Iran. Saint Thomas came to India during their rule. Then Kushanas. Very important ruler is Kanishka. Fourth Buddhist council happened during his reign at Kundalwan in Kashmir, and Saka Samvat started from 76th century, Common Era. Charaka, father of Ayurveda, belonged to this time period, and they controlled the Silk Route. Very important Silk Route. There were two capitals, one was Peshawar and second was Mathura. Then we have Satavahanas. Very important ruler was Gautamiputra Satkarni, and they were keeping the name of mother as a prefix. It was found by Simuka. They built the Amravati Mahachetya, which is a marble stupa. They were the first to carve. They started, it is something credited to them that they were the one they started carving the Ajanta caves. One of the earliest naval powers, and Hala wrote Gatha Saptasati during the time period of Satavahanas. Then we have Kharvelas. Kharvelas, they were ruler of Kalinga and they embraced Jainism. They built the Udayagiri Khandagiri caves. Hathi Gumfa inscription is a very important key source of that time period. Now let's see Sangam Era. So Sangam Era roughly ran for almost 400 to 500 years. Sangam means academies. So here the Tamil poets, Tamil scholars and important scholars used to come. They used to come and they used to take participation, and traditionally there were three numbers held under Pandyan patronage and in Madurai. Not all three happen in Madurai. Okay, so major kingdoms at that point of time were Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas. Cholas, their capital was in Urayur, and their most important port was Puhar. Okay, and their flag was containing tiger. So they were known for seafaring. There were gold coins also that were issued. Then we have Cheras, the capital was Vanji, and bow and arrow was their symbol. Key ports were Tondi and Musiri. Mind you, these sites are very, very important for your UPSC examination. Tondri and Musiri. In this, we have also mention of Pogalur inscription. The most important king was Senguttuvan. Most important one was Senguttuvan, and Ilango Adigal was his brother. Okay. Ilango Adigal was his brother. Pandyan, capital was in Madurai. The flag was two fish, and the important port was Korakai. They hosted all three Sangams. Now let's read about some of the most important texts that were written during this time period. So yes, Tirukural written by Thiruvalluvar, and it is called as the Bible of Tamil land. It covers virtues, wealth, love, and a range of things has been mentioned. If you will go to Kanyakumari, you will see the Thiruvalluvar statue. There is a statue of Swami Vivekananda and Thiruvalluvar, and there is a glass bridge which is being made. Okay. Then there is a Tolakapiyam, which is written by Tolakapiyar. It is earliest Tamil grammatical work and written around in second Sangam. There is a place called as Kapadapuram. One Sangam happened in Kapadapuram. Okay. So in Tolakapiyam only the Varna system, caste system is also something which is mentioned, and this was asked by UPSC in one of the year as well. Then Silapatikaram, written by Ilango Adigal. It is about a love triangle of a Kanagi, Kovalan, and Madhavi. Then Manimekalai, which is written by the Satalai Satanar. Okay. And it is a Buddhist text. It describes how Manimekalai becomes a Buddhist nun. And it also has some criticism of Hindu rituals as well. Then we have a thing called as Panar and Viralyar. So these Panar and Viralyar were the Singhi communities of the Sangam era. First Sangam happened at Madurai, led by Agastya. All literature from first Sangam was destroyed. Tolakapiyam could not survive, will be better word. Tolakapiyam was written in second Sangam period. Okay. Kapadapuram was the place where second Sangam happened. And third, the majority of all the text that you are reading is something which survived from there. Now, the administrative unit, we will see the Mandalam was a territory. Nadu was a province. Uru was a village. And Patanim was coastal town. Important officials were Amaichar. Amaichar were the ministers. We have Senapati, were known as commander. Thutar was envoy. Orar were spies. Orar, O-R-A-R, were the spies. The advanced agriculture was used. Wet rice cultivation, specifically in and around Kaveri, was something which was practiced. And society, even though it was patriarchal, but yes, if you compare it with the same era, other places, then somewhat freedom was there, but it was mainly patriarchal. There were clear-cut occupation in caste-like groups like Vellalars, Vaishyas, but it was less rigid compared to the Varna system which was prevalent in the north of India. We have worship of the Murugan, but also Vedic and Brahminical influence is also present. Women were celebrated in poetries. Some evidence of women poets and participation in religious festival is also there. Okay. So these are the important facts that you need to know. Three kings were collectively called as Movendar. Mu means three and Vendar means king. Now let's read about Gupta Empire. In Gupta Empire, the most important things for our examination is 9 jewels. That's it. Chandragupta I was the first king, first called as Maharaja de Raja, and married the Lichavi princess Kumara Devi, Vaishya, ruling Kshatriya. Now, these all marriage alliances are done by kings like Akbar as well. Through these, they were trying to reconcile or make alliances and expand their empire. Samudragupta, V. S. Smith called him Indian Napoleon, but it is injustice to Samudragupta. Samudragupta never lost a battle, and Napoleon lost battles. Secondly, Samudragupta came much earlier than Napoleon. Samudragupta was the one who, if Chandragupta I was not the founder of the Gupta Empire, Shri Gupta was the founder, but Chandragupta I is generally called as someone who erected the foundation. Now, Allahabad pillar inscription is something which talks about him. There is a Prasasti, a Prayaga Prasasti written by his court poet Harisena. It talks about Dakshin Patha expedition. He defeated the early Pallavas as well. That's why he's someone who is quite famous. He was the one who is very important for us, Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II is called as Vikramaditya. In his time period, there were 9 Navaratnas. And he eliminated the last Saka king. Now, from there came the Vikram Samvat, Rudrasimha. He captured Gujarat as well. And Kumar Gupta is someone who is known just because of building Nalanda University. This is the main thing. And Skandagupta, he was weakened by Huna invasion, treasury depleted due to collapse of Roman trade routes. Now, Navratna of Chandragupta II is something which is very important for us. The first one which we will read, we will read in great detail is the great Kalidasa. Kalidasa was not someone who was kind of prolific writer in this early time period. He became later on. There is a stage where he was married to Vidyotama, and he was not someone who was a scholar, and then he was disrespected as well, and then he became someone so wise. So he had written books like Meghadutam and Ritu Samhara, which is a collection of poems, Kumara Sambhavam and Raghuvamsam, which are epics kind of, Vikramor Vashyam, it's kind of a story again, a Malvika Agnimitram, a love story. Then Abhigyan Shakuntalam, which is sort of a play. These are things which are written by Kalidasa. Then we have the Amarasimha as well. Amarasimha, who wrote Amar Kosha, because of that he is important. Dhanvantari is very, very famous for contribution with respect to Ayurveda. Varahamira was the one who wrote Pancha Siddhantika, which talks about the 5 astronomical system. He wrote Brihad Samhita, kind of encyclopedia. Brihad Jataka, which is about astrology. He was one of the Navratna. Then there is a Vettala Bhatta, okay, Shapanka, Shanku, Ghatakpara, and Varuchi. These were the 9 jewels of that time period. Now, Vishaka Datta had written Mudra Rakshaka about Chandragupta Maurya and Chanakya and how they became the king, how they overturned the Nanda. Devi Chandraguptam, it talks about the Chandragupta II, has been also, Chandragupta I has been also written by Vishaka Datta. Shushruta belonged to this time period. Vaghabhata, Gupta era physician, belonged to this time period. Charaka belonged to Kushana era. So don't get confused between Charaka and Shushruta. Harisena was court poet of Samudragupta. This is which you need to know. And about administrative system, which is not so important, but let me tell you in very brief. Empire was divided into Bhuktis, and then small units were Vishaya, and then there were Grama and Nagara. Okay. Bhukti head were called as Uparika. Vishya head were called as Vishyapati. Grama head was called as Gramani. Nagara head was called as Nagara Rakshika. Then succession was hereditary, but did not follow strict kind of a Brahmic nature and system. Fahayana visited during Chandragupta II reign, and he wrote Fo Q Ki, Record of Buddhist Kingdom. He reported that Buddhism was flourishing in Northwest India, but declining in Gangetic Plains, where Hinduism had replaced it. Economy was prosperous, trade was brisk, and crime was low. Trade routes were safe, punishments were mild, mostly fines, no death penalty for ordinary crimes. King's administration was so good that people did not even lock their houses. Free hospitals and charitable institutions were there. And he came by land route but left from Tamralipti, just Tamul in Bengal, a very important port. Tamralipti is something had been asked in a lot of PYQs. Cram it. Very important. Let me tell you, there should not be any kind of excuses. All the things that I am discussing, a lot of questions will come. Post-Gupta era. Okay, so Harshavardhana is a very important king during the post-Gupta time period, and the capital was Thaneshwar, Kannauj. He ruled the Kannauj. Harsha of Kannauj is also a mention that you will see in various other books. Initially was Saivite, then he converted to Hinayana form of Buddhism, then to Mahayana Buddhism, and so forth. Prayag Sabha happened every 5 years, and he was charitable as well. Bana Bhatta was the court poet. And we have books like Harsha Charita and Kadambani. Hyun Sang visited during his time period, and Harsha himself wrote Ratnavali, Nagananda, etc. Priyadarshika. He was defeated by Pulkesin II at Narmada. Okay. And there were Texas like Bali, Bhaga, Hiranya. Then we have Chalukyas as well, Chalukyas of Badami. Key ruler was Pulkesin II. He defeated the Harsha. There was a Vishara style of architecture which was started by Chalukyas. Aihole inscription written by the Ravi Kirti. Okay. We have Badami caves, we have Patadakkal temples, which are part of UNESCO World Heritage Site. Ladakhan temple. It was defeated by Danti Durga of Rashtrakuta. Then we have Pallavas of Kanchipuram. So Mahendravarman I is someone who patronized Jainism. He was converted by Apar, and he wrote Matta Vilasa, Prahasma. He built Tiruchirappalli caves. Narasimhavarman I is known as a Mamalla, founded Mahabalipuram, and then the title was Vatapi Konda that was given to him. Ratha temples were made by him. Narasimhavarman II, Sor temples. Kailasana temple at Kachi has been built during this time period. Okay. Dravidian style of temple architecture started from here. So this is something which you need to know. So Narasimhavarman I was very, very important for the examinations. Now Mahabalipuram, if I talk about, then there are 7 Ratha temples. Pancharatha is there. It's also called as a 7 pagoda, and some names are there. I'm not exactly remembering. Okay. Then Shore temple is very, very important. Built by subsequently Narasimhavarman I started in Narasimhavarman to finish it. And Kailash temple at Kanchipuram, most developed structure temple. Then we have Sitan Vansal paintings, have oldest depiction of Samavasarana, that is Jain divine prayer hall. Now, what Hyun Sang said about Harsha's time period? He wrote Siyuki. He said that Harsha was liberal, he was a secular king, but the kingdom was not very safe. Robbery was rampant, punishments were harsh, Buddhism was declining in Gangetic Plain, caste system existed with the rise of mixed and subcaste. Okay, so this is what he told. Let's read about the three-partite struggle. So Kannauj was very, very important strategically as well as resource-wise as well. And there were 3 kingdoms which are fighting for Kannauj. One was Gurjar Pratihara, another was Rashtrakuta, and another was Palas. They all were fighting for this prosperous Kannauj. Now, Rashtrakutas were founded by Danti Durga. He defeated the last Chalukyan king, that is the Kirtivarman II. Palas were ruling the Bengal, and these were the Buddhist dynasty. They were the one who founded important universities also, like Odantapuri, Vikramshila. Okay, so they were the ones who founded all of this. Now, in terms of imperial Cholas, they are more important for our art and culture things. But you have to remember one thing is that Rajendra Chola won. Now, he is the one who defeated the Palas, and he crossed the river Ganges. And because of it, he was called as Gangai Konda Cholapuram. And a big temple was also constructed. And they were very superior in terms of naval force. Imperial because they were ruling, they were going beyond India. Ceylon and the Singapore and other Malay regions as well. Their effect was until there. And the Nataraj statue of Shiva, and that is also something which came from the Imperial Chola time period. And their temples were extremely magnificent. The Dravidian architecture that you see, the large gopurams, the gateways and boundary walls and intricate carvings, everything happened during this Chola time period. Imperial Cholas. There is a difference between the Sangam and Imperial Cholas. And this is something which is important as of now, but when we will finish the art and culture, we will go very deep into it as well. Now, you need to understand that India was ruled by some of the dynasties like Chamhans. Invasions were happening. First, it was happening with respect to Ghazni. Ghazni came and he raided as well the Somnath temple, etc. Then Gori. Gori was the one who was fighting the battle with Prithviraj Chauhan. When the first battle happened of Tarain, Prithviraj Chauhan won. But then what happened was that he came back and then he defeated the Prithviraj Chauhan. After which, what he did was his slave. He gave the Indian territory to his one of the slaves, and who founded the Delhi Sultanate. And because of that, also the initial dynasty is called as slave dynasty. Or the another name is Mamluk dynasty. An important king was the first king was the Kutubuddin Aibak. But he could not do much of the things, but he's credited with the starting of the construction of the Qutub Minar. Iltutmish was the one who started the coinage system, the Ikta system, noble system. They have some kinds of jagirs, etc. Ikta Dari, Jagir Dari, Ijar Dari. And these 3 are a kind of administrative system which were very, very important. Nobles would be there, they would provide you services, they would have some kind of standing army. Then from there, 14 nobles group was there, which was called as Chalisa. And they became at a point of time very popular, very powerful rather than popular. They were pressurizing kings as well a lot. Silver Tanka was started by Iltutmish. Copper Jital coins were there. So, and one of the important fact about Qutbuddin Aibak is that he was a very kind person. He was a very noble person. That's why he's known as Lakh Baksh. Lakh Baksh means charitable person. Then we have Quwwatul Islam Mosque, Dhai Din Ka Jhopda at Ajmer, etc., that has been built during his time period. But as I told you, Iltutmish was the one who is called as the real founder of the dynasty. Then, as I told you, Iqtidari was started by him, and he is the one who saved India from Genghis Khan by denying, refused to, one of the person whose name was Jalaluddin of Khwarezm. Otherwise, Genghis Khan, if he would have even refused, Genghis Khan would have raided India. Lakhs of people would have died. Then the daughter, Razia Sultan, one of the only women sultan in terms of the sultanate, and did not observe parda or naqab, and this displaced Chalisa and ulemas and orthodox systems, who toppled her and installed puppet Bahram Shah, and she was killed as well. Then comes Balban. Balban was someone who was very strong and a bit warrior as well, a strong warrior as well, former member of Chalisa. He established political stability by executing the Chalisa, Hata and punishing the errant Iqtidar who were not paying him revenue on time, etc. Called himself Zille Ilahi, that is shadow of God, and started the sajda, that is, you have to bow down and do sajda, and you have to do kiss the sultan's feet, that is called as paibos. So larger than life figure he was trying to create of himself, and he set up the Diwane Arz, that is the military department. Then he also started Diwane Unzarat, that is the finance department. And he stripped ulema of the political authority, started celebrating Navroz that pleased the Irani nobles. Mongols killed his son during an invasion. So that's what you need to know. The next one which came was Khilji. Khilji may the founder, Jalaluddin Khilji, could not do much, but Alauddin Khilji did a lot of things, and he's important for us. So he's also called as Sikandar Sani because of the conquest that he did and the battles that he won. Second Alexander. Campaigns that he launched were in as long as he went till Kakatiya, say from Gujarat to Ranthambore to Chittor to Malwa to Warangal, that is Kakatiyas, Dwar Samudram of Hoysalas and Tanjore and Madurai. So he raided, even went to the south of India as well. When Alauddin defeated Kakatiyas, their generals Harihar and you must be knowing about Harihar and Bukka, who established the Vijayanagara Empire. These were the ones who fled. They were first the generals. They flee to Kampilya. They later founded the Sangam dynasty, and that is the, we have Sangam, Suluva, Tuluva, that is part of the Vijayanagara Empire. He abolished the Ikta system. This is something which you need to remember, and converted all lands to Khalisa, that is a royal estate. Introduced cash salaries, not land grants, to the military. Chehra of soldiers' ID, and Dag for horse branding system, so that nobody is forging it. He was the one he started it. Market reforms was something which was very important. He tried to control the inflation, the price of the goods, cloths, cattle, and generals. Then he started Shahanai Mandi to oversee the market. Munian were the spies who were taking care of all this, who ensured the fair prices. He started Diwan-e Mustaq-Raj, that is Department of Arrears, to collect unpaid taxes. He really wanted to enhance the economic condition. Now comes the Tughlaq. In that, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq are very important, even though Ghayasuddin is the founder, but they are the ones who are important. Another thing is the Amir Khusro, as the court poet of Alauddin Khalji, and he wrote Khazanul Futuf, that is Alauddin's conquest, Sabak-e-Hind, that is related to Indian music, and he also wrote Tughlaqnama, that is Rise of Ghayasuddin Tughlaq. He is known as Tutiye-Hind. Tutiye means parrot of India. And he had Alauddin Khalji had built a number of structures like Alai Darwaza as well, Hauz Khas, etc. Mongols invasion. He repelled 6 times in 1306. Mongols entered Delhi temporarily until Khalji tried to control them. So this is again a very important fact of prelims. So Ghayasuddin Tughlaq started and founded the Tughlaq dynasty. But if you see Muhammad bin Tughlaq, because he is considered to be a centric person, but he was a very educated person. Educated, and he tried a lot of things, but he failed in majority of the things. And one of the term which is associated with Muhammad bin Tughlaq is Tughlaqi Farman, because he was all of a sudden starting something like he wanted to shift the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, Devgiri in Deccan, and he failed in that as well. A lot of people died and everything. Then he returned. Currency changes. He made copper coin equal to silver. Hoarding started. Again, issues, forgery, inflation. Khorasan expedition. He prepared army to stop Mongols. No fund was there. Abandoned. Then Harchil expedition. 1 lakh soldiers to Kangra to stop Chinese. Army froze to death there. Over-attacks to Doab farmers. There was a revolt. Then he rolled back. Ibn Battuta visited. Ibn Battuta was so fascinated. He was not letting him go. He was. Ibn Battuta was like, "Ho gaya yaar. I have to go now." No, Rala, the book he had written. He's appointed as Qazi of Delhi. Later, he formed Diwaniko, that was agriculture department, and Takkavi loans were or Sondar loans were provided to farmers. But Firoz Shah Tughlaq is known for all the canals that he had built. Then he reinstated Iqta, made it hereditary, stopped the Fawazil payments. The Zakat, he was a bit orthodox, so Zakat, etc., he gave more focus. Jizya, he again employed on non-Muslims, a kind of a poll tax. Then Khamsa was 1/5 of the war booty. Kharaj was 10% of agriculture tax. Charai was a tax on milch animals. Okay, so all of these were important. He built the Firoz Shah Kotla. He built there are the 7 cities of Delhi. So one of that is Tughlaqabad. You must have heard Mahajanapadas, Tughlaqabad, Deen Pana. These all, Delhi was constructed many times. Constructed, destroyed, constructed, then destroyed. He built canals for irrigation. He shifted Ashokan pillar to Delhi. He started Diwan-e-Khairat. No? Also, he started Diwan-e-Bandagan. Diwan-e-Bandagan for slaves. Then he started Safqat Khanas. Safqat Khanas are clinics and hospitals. He patronized Barni, who wrote Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi and Fatwa-e-Zahandari. Then comes the Sayyids and Lodhis. The Sayyid dynasty ruled roughly for 36-37 years and established when Taimur attacked and installed his servant. Khizr Khan never called himself Sultan, considered himself Taimur's servant, and it was a very weak dynasty. Then Lodhis came. It was the first Afghan dynasty. Sikandar Lodhi is the one who founded the Agra, but Bahlul Lodhi was the founder. Gaj-e Sikandari, the land measuring instrument now, still use 50 gaj, 100 gaj, is something which came from this dynasty. They abolished the food grain duties and Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur in the first battle of Panipat. This is what you need to know. Now let's revise all the ministries important. So Diwan-e-Wazarat was finance and it was headed by, or you can say Prime Minister also, Wazir. It became hereditary under Firoz Shah Tughlaq, started by Qutubuddin Aibak. Diwan-e-Ars, military and law and order, was started by Balband. Diwan-e-Unzarat, finance separate from Ars, by Balband. Diwan-e-Insa, royal correspondence and issuance of farmans. Diwan-e-Qazi, justice system. Diwan-e-Rasalat, appeals department, headed by Sadar-ul-Sadar. Okay. Then we have Diwan-e-Mustakraj, revenue areas, started by Alauddin Khalji. Diwan-Koh, agriculture department, Takkavi loan were provided by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Then Diwan-e-Khairat, aims, it was for poorest Khairat, some kind of a grant, started by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And Diwan-e-Bandagan also, department of slaves, was started by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Now let's read another very important, very important and recurring thing, Vijayanagara Empire. So the first dynasty was Sangam dynasty. Harihar and Bukka were the founders. Then Devaraya I and Devaraya II are also part of Sangam dynasty, founded by two feudal lords fleeing from Kakatiya defeat. Okay. And so started by Alauddin Khalji. Here, no, this is something Alauddin Khalji went and raided. Bin Tughlaq also went there. Then they annexed the Hoysalas as well and Pandyas as well, rapidly modernized the army with the Turkish archers and horses to fight Bahmanis. Devraya I and II were the ablest ruler. Niccolo Conti and Abdur Razak visited the empire. Ganga Devi wrote Madura Vijayan about Kumar Pampan's conquest of Madurai. Then we have Suluva dynasty. The important king is Saluva Narasimha Rao. Portuguese reached Calicut during their rule. And Tuluva dynasty, which Krishnadeva Raya, Raja Krishnadeva Raya, most important ruler, belonged to, is the greatest king, and there were Ashtadikkajas. The most important out of all Ashtadikkaja was Alashani Pedana, very famous poet. And he was a scholar himself. He wrote a lot of books as well, like Amukta Malyada, Jambavati Kalyanam. He only wrote them. There were alliances with Portuguese as well by the Raja Krishnadeva Raya. Then he had his court poet was Alasani Pedana, who is called as Andhra Kavi Pitama, and wrote no, Harikatasaram and Manucharitam. Okay, it's part of Panchakavyam. So, now alliance with Portuguese were to keep Bijapur out of Goa. Alfonso the Albicurious and Domingo Pius to Krishnadevaraya's court. Later, Duarte Barbosa also came. Portuguese helped take Goa in 1510. And the architecture was so magnificent. Hazara Ramaswamy Temple, Vittal Swami Temple, Virupaksha Temple, Hampi is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The administration was Amaranaika system. Empire was the head of everything. Then there were mandals, then Nadu, then Sthala, then Grama. Naikas are given amarams, that is land grant to maintain soldiers. Bronze statue of Krishnadevaya is there, and he has two queens inside Venkateswara temple at Tirupati. Purandar Das adorned his court, and Ratha temple is also there. Aravidu was the last dynasty. Alaya Ramaraya was the most important one, but it's a weak lost battle of Talikota, and that ended the Vijayanagara dynasty. And the very important thing that you need to remember is that during this time period, the condition of women was better compared to the other contemporary kingdoms in the India. So if they are telling you that women were indulged in anything which is progressive, in Vijayanagara Empire, this will be true. So logical brain you have to apply. Okay. And these are the other sultanates like Ahmednagar. Nizam Side dynasty was ruling it. Notable ruler was Ahmad Bahri. Bidar was ruled by Barid Shahis. Ali Barid was notable ruler. Bijapur was ruled by Adil Shahis. Gol Gumbaz, na? Very famous Gol Gumbaz were built by Muhammad Adil Shah. Farishta served here. Berar was ruled by, one of the most important was the Imad Shahis dynasty. Imadul Mulk and Fatullah Khan were the important kings. Golconda Sultanate, Qutub Shahi dynasty, expanded Golconda Fort. Dakkani literature, Char Minar was built by Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah, which is the iconic structure of Hyderabad. Golconda Fort is it's in Hyderabad itself. Okay, so this is what you need to remember. Now comes to Mughal Empire, very, very important. And Babur was the one who founded the empire, but he just ruled for 4 years. He won the first battle of Panipat. He used the Tughlaqama technique, artillery. So he's firing gunpowders and guns, and that is why he won superior war technology. Then comes Humayun. Humayun was most literate out of all the rulers. One of the most literate and very noble person also, but he had to flee away because of one of the very fearsome and warrior Sher Shah, and he started a lot of things. Even the land revenue system, the Sala and Zapti system, which later on adopted by Akbar, was started by whom? Was started by Sher Shah. He was the one who started all of this Grand Trunk Road. Now, this is something which is an old fort, a Purana Kila. So these all belong to Sher Khan, Sher Shah Suri. He had to exile and Safavids, and he brought the some art and culture part as well. Some important painters, Mir Sayyid Ali and Abdul Samad. Humayun Tomb is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, built by Hamida Begum, and it is also built in a Charbagh style of architecture, similarly like Taj Mahal, where a rectangular shape is there. In between, there is an architecture. Small water will flow everywhere. See, okay, it's divided into 4 parts, and canals are running everywhere. Trees are built, creating an earthy utopia. So this is same. Here the central architecture is there. Now this is very common in terms of Mughal architecture. They wanted to create earthy utopia. It's something which is not very much valued in Islam as well. Akbar has done a lot of things, and that's why we'll read a bit in detail. Akbar is called as great. Why is called as great? Because he wanted to, from the Mughal Empire in India to Mughal Empire of India, is something established by Akbar. He established a lot of relationship, Akbar's Rajput policy, matrimonial alliances. If you go to Fatehpur Sikri, you will see Rajputana style of architecture also inbuilt there. That is why Fatehpur Sikri is called as frozen moment in Indian history. So, and he abolished the jizya, the poll tax, and he patronized Ibadat Khana. Ibadat Khanas where the wise people and scholars of all the religion used to come and they used to debate. And then he came to a conclusion that every religion thinks that they are the best. So let's have something which is all conclusive. Then he made Deen Ilahi. His court was also adorned by Navaratnas, and all Navaratnas. The first one was the Abul Fazal, who was the Wazir, he was the historian, he wrote the Akbarnama. Then Aine Akbari with the statistical record of empire. Abul Fazal, he was a Persian author, and poet who was brother of Abul Faizi and Abul Fazl. Okay. Abul Faizi is also part of Navaratna. Abul Faizi is Persian author and poet, and Abul Fazl was wazir and historian. Fakir Azuddin was a Sufi saint and spiritual advisor. Then Mahesh Das, who later on became Birbal. You must have read all the stories of Akbar and Birbal. He was a minister and advisor. The Birbal title was given by Akbar. Then comes the Todarmal, who made all these the Dashala systems of the system. He was a revenue minister. Earlier worked for Sheshasuri. So nothing but a classification of land. Classification of land according to the fertility, etc., and dividing the land according and taking the estimation of 10 years and then fixing the revenue. This is called the Dashala system or Japti system. Then Man Singh was a Mansabdar and military general. Mansabdari system was prevalent in the Mughal time period. So Mansab means nothing but ranks. Your rank are fixed and your salary, etc., whatever you have to manage horse, cavalry, it's based on the Mansabdari system. It's like a hierarchy in civil services. No? You say that IG is above SP and all of this hierarchy that you see in police system and bureaucracy. Like this, Mansabdari system. He led the battle of Haldighati versus the great Maharana Pratap. Tansen, called as and previously as Ramtanu Pandey, and he was a magician. He composed Drupad. Title Mia was given by Akbar. Original title Tansen from King of Gwalior. Already asked by UPSC previously. Then Abdul Rahim Khan, he's a poet and translator, son of Regent Bairam Khan. Then Mirza Aziz Koka was a foster brother of Akbar, is a Subedar of Gujarat. These all were the Navaratnas. Now, four categories of land were divided. Polaj which was cultivated every year. Parati kept for 2 years. Every 2 years it will be cultivated. Chachar 3-4 years it has been kept. Banjar 5+ years it has been kept. Revenue was 1/3 of the average of 10-year produce and it was paid in cash. This is the Dasala system. Mansabdari system, each Ubal was given a Zat. Zat was a rank and the salary was decided. And Sawar, that is the number of horsemen they have to maintain. 29 Mansabdar had highest Zat of 5,000 Akbar's time. And there were types of Jagir as well, like Watan Jagir. So it was permanent and it was provided to Rajputs. Tankha Jagir, that is salary based, taken back after service. Then we have Mashrut Jagir, that is conditional Jagir. Then we have Altamaga Jagir, that is hereditary to Muslim nobility, started by Jahangir later on. Land granted to Guru Ramdas Ji, the fourth Sikh Guru, as Watan Jagir for building the city and golden temple. Akbar later executed the fifth Guru, Arjan Das. Actually, it was Jahangir who did this, not Akbar. So it's Jahangir, not Akbar. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, we celebrate in the Orthodox Aurangzeb. Okay, so it's I think according to my knowledge, it is done by Jahangir, not Akbar. Okay, please verify it once. Then comes Jahangir. Jahangir was not compared to what Akbar was doing, and he was someone who was relaxed, how POS karo, and a lot of cultural development happened. His wife was very, very strong. And during his time period, portrait paintings were made, and Ustad Mansoor, etc., started making paintings. Dance, music, etc., flourished a lot. So cultural development happened. William Hawkins came during his time period. Thomas Roe, first British factory established at Surat. Initially, was not giving because Portuguese were pressurizing. Then Battle of Swali happened. Pitre Dura style, you can see inlay of precious stones. It's called as Pitre Dura. A tomb of Itamad ud-Dawla, which is also called as Bibi Taj in the Fatehpur Sikri, has been made. An individual portrait painting style is something which started, and he is the one who executed and killed the Guru Arjan Singh Ji, not Akbar. Yeah, clearly it is written also here. Shah Jahan, so golden age of architecture, he made numerous buildings, Radford, Jama Masjid, Taj Mahal, Peacock Throne, and what not. Travelers like Bernier and Tavernier and Manucci came during his time period. So this is also which you need to remember. And he had sons, and the biggest one was Dara Sikho. Dara Sikho was someone who was a noble who was more into architecture, was more into scholarly thing. He was not that much into battles. But Aurangzeb was a fearsome person, and he used to always practice war tactics. Dara Sikho was a scholarly person, so translating Upanishads and all. He killed Dara Sikho, and his head was cut, and that was taken to Shah Jahan as a gift by Aurangzeb. He was imprisoned. He died in the prison itself. There is a Red Fort in Agra as well. There is a Red Fort in Delhi. So in the Agra is a Red Fort. There is a jail in which he died, Shah Jahan. Comes the Aurangzeb and he introduced the Zaziyar system, very orthodox. The Mughal Empire expanded the most during the reign of Aurangzeb. He ended the Navroz as well. He executed Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, and Khalsa Panth was then formed by Guru Gobind Singh ji, avenged the death. The Sahibzades were again killed. Then again, Banda Bahadur ji avenges the death of it. Conquered Maratha territory only after Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was not there. Otherwise, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, can you imagine 17, 18 years of age and winning forts after forts? People used to fear. He was so genius kind of a person, one of a kind of person, like Maharana Pratap. Maharana Pratap didn't left the land, fought battle. He had to eat even the grass-made rotis, but he never left. That's why he's still remembered, na? That's why he's one of the very loved king of India, Maharana Pratap, because of the persistence. Same you can say about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, never now fearing anyone, and the guerrilla war and the tactics, and he's a charismatic person. That's why in Maharashtra specifically, he's somewhat related, with the Lord Shiva. So he has some power coming directly from Lord Shiva, maybe the avatar of Lord Shiva, because of the works that he did is something which is quite impossible by any of the ordinary king as well, not about person. So this is something which you need to remember. Okay. Suri dynasty, Sesha Suri built Grand Trunk Road, Peshawar to Sonargaon. He built a lot of sarais. You will go to Delhi, na Kalu Sarai, Katwaria Sarai. So many sarais. These were for guest houses. Postal service was there. Currency, Mohar was gold coins, Rupiah was silver coin, Dam was copper coin. Zapti and Bandobast system with Todermal, he started. Patta, title deeds, Qabuliyat, revenue deed. Revived Chehra system, Dak system, Alauddin Khulji. Malik Muhammad Jaisi's Kotia wrote the Padmavat. Was buried at Sasaram, Bihar. The mausoleum of the Sheshasuri is there. Now let's discuss some of the miscellaneous topics. Authors, important authors. So Arthashastra was written by whom? Kautilya and Chanakya. It talks about statecraft and economics. Indica was written by Megasthenes. He gives the Mauryan account of Mauryan Empire. And Ashtadhyayi wrote Panini. It's a Sanskrit grammar book. No? Contested about when he existed. Some say that he existed during the Nanda time period. Mahabhashya text wrote by Patanjali. Okay. Commentary on Panini. Shunga time period. Milind Pano, author was Nagasena. Indo-Greek dialogue with Menander. Gatha Saptati, written by Hala during the time period of Satavahana. Romantic Prakrit poems. Buddha Charita book was written by Ashoka during the time period of Kushana. Life of Buddha was explained. Then Mrichakatika, written by Shudrakas. And during the time period of Gupta, set in Avanti, Padyota's rule. Then Kalidasa had written a lot of things. We have already discussed Megdutam, Abhigyan Sakuntlam, Raghuvansam, Malyuka, Agnimitra. Then Aryabhatyam, written by Aryabhata. Discuss about pi, zero, solar eclipse during Gupta time period. Harsha Charita and Kadambari, written by Banabhatta. It's a biographical work of Harsha. Aihole inscription, written by Ravi Kirti. During Chalukya, praises Pulkeshi II, mentions Kalidasa as well. Tabaqat-e Nasri, written by Minhaj-e-Siraj. Delhi Sultanate, and it talks about the generic Islamic history. Tariq-e-Firuzshah, written by Barani, about the Tughlaq period. Then Akbarnama and Aini Akbari was written by Abul Fazl. Amukta Malyada was written by Raja Krishnadeva Raya. And it is part of a Telugu Panchakavyam. Kitab-ul-Hind was written by Al-Baruni. Then we have Rehala, written by Ibn Battuta, and it talks about the Tughlaqs. Raj Tarangani, written by Kalhana, and it talks about the history of kings of Kashmir. Then we have Prithviraj Raso, written by Chand Bardai, who is a medieval epic on Prithviraj Chauhan. Okay. Then we also have ancient ports like Barbaricum, modern name is Karachi. Barya Gaza, modern name is Bharuch. Serestrin, modern name is Saurashtra. Supara, modern name is Sopara. Mujiris, currently it is called Pattanam, it is in Kerala. Kolchi, present name is Korakai. Kamera, present name is Puhar or Pomper. It's in the past also Puhar it was called. Poduka or Puducherry. Arika Medu, must have heard about the Arika Medu port. very important for spices trade with Roman Empire. Sopatama, Marakanam, Mysolia, Masulipatnam, Dasarna, Odisha. Okay. Inscriptions. Hathigumpha inscription, ruler was Kharvela. 17-line Prakrit records the campaigns, Jain patronage, information on Nandas, Mauryas, and Satavahanas are provided. Then Junagadh inscription, Rudradaman 1, earliest long Sanskrit inscription, repair of Sudarshan Lake, also mentions about Chandragupta Maurya. We have Allahabad pillar, Samudragupta, composed by Harisena. Prayag Pasist is there. 3 rulers have been inscribed there, Ashoka, Samudragupta, and Jahangir. Okay. Aihole, Pulkeshin II, written by Ravi Kirti, records defeat of Harsha, mentions Kalidasa. Gwalior inscription, Bhoja and Pratyahara dynasty, largest numeral 0, construction of Vishnu temple has been mentioned here. Maroli, iron pillar, Chandragupta II, 4th and 5th century, praise of king, remarkable rust resistance, you can see. Maratha forts, UNESCO World Heritage Site, it has been included. 12 forts, 11 in Maharashtra, 1 in Tamil Nadu, Ginji. India now has 44 World Heritage Sites, 36 cultural, 7 natural, 1 mixed. Raigad was Shivaji's capital after 1674. Coronation plus tomb. Shivneri is in Pune, birthplace of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Pratapgarh, site of Shivaji's victory over Afzal Khan. Vijayadurg, Marathas navy base, captured in 1653. Ginji in Tamil Nadu, triple peaked fort, 3rd Maratha capital during Mughal invasions. This is what you need to know. Okay. Then there are other as well, which I want to just mention it once so that nothing is missed. Like Pratapgarh, which is in Satara district, built by Shivaji Maharaj. Panhala is in Kolhapur. Shivaji escaped a Mughal siege here in 1660. Vijayadurga, which is in Sindhudurg, Maharashtra, coastal fort, Marathas navy base. Lohagad is in Pune district. Vinchu Kata, that is scorpion tail, is rampant. Treasure store from the Surat raid. Salher is in Nasik, second highest in Maharashtra. Battle of Salher. Maratha won the rare open field victory versus Mughals. Then Sindhudurg is there, which we already discussed. Suvarnar Durg, that is in Ratnagiri, Maharashtra, famous for your Alfonso Hapusam. Island fort connected by submerged tunnel to Kanakdurg, later under Kanhoji Angre. Then Khanderi, Raigad, Maharashtra, offshore fort opposite to Mumbai Harbour, renamed Kanhoji Angre Island in 1998. And Ginji, we already discussed. And we also had another system, which is something which you need to remember, is the Ashtapradhan system. So like in every administration now, we will have some kind of a peculiarity with respect to the administration, big kingdoms. For the Marathas, this was Ashtapradhan system. We already read about it, Ektadari and Chalise system, etc. So there was someone who was heading it. Prime Minister, he was Peshwa. And we were Amatyas and Majumdars who were dealing with finances and revenue management. Senapatis were dealing with the military commandant. And Sumant were the foreign ministers and diplomacy. Nyayadhish were dealing with justice and judiciary. Then Pandit Rao were dealing with the affairs of religious and charitable works. Then Chitnis were someone who were dealing with royal correspondence. And Vaknavis were dealing with intelligence and postal services. Okay. And this is something which you need to know. And this is something which, if you see, the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is known for having fought against the Muslim rulers, but he was so much inclusive person. People of different religion used to work under him. And if you see the other kings who were in the Maratha time period, Sambhaji, he resisted Aurangzeb fiercely despite executions. There was Rajaram and Tarabai, guerrilla campaigns were launched from southern forts, prolonged the Mughal stalemate. Then we had Shahuji, okay, released from Mughal captivity. Then we have Peshwa Bajirao I. He expanded the empire into northwards, won 41 battles undefeated. But then internal feuds, you must have read about the Peshwas and Sindhyas and Holkars, and they were fighting, and then Anglo-Maratha War, which we had discussed in during the Maratha time period, and that led to declining of power. And the Battle of Panipat, the third Battle of Panipat, if Maratha would have won it, the history would have been different. Why I'm going so much into the these history is that this year Marathas may give you one question. There are other things, other names as well, like there were Patels, etc. as well, village level. Village level also there were administration, there were hereditary village headmen. You must have seen this title, right? In Maharashtra, people write Patels. And there were other village level and local level administrative units as well. Now we have discussed so many things. What you have to do is this notes will be posted in Karmayogi as Telegram channel. Then we will also post tomorrow evening by evening a practice test. So solve that. You watch this video, you read the notes, you practice the test, you revised it once. That's enough to deal with the majority of the questions that I can bet. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That it motivates us. It also will help you to now get the real time update with respect to the last lab videos that will come. Next is economy, and comment also if you are finding it helpful. It's taking a lot of effort. I'm working around the clock, recording videos till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. at night. First, you have to build all these sharp notes. I'm doing it alone. I'm not even indulging the team. This all has been done by me is to ensure the highest quality. So thank you very much. Take care. Best wishes.